Welcome back, my happy little ramblers, to Rees Rambles, episode number 45. And I thought, as it was Christmas, I'd do a bit of a year in review for the ctrl-alt-rees channel. Now, I'm actually here recording a new video, my very latest video. Got everything recorded just now, which is fantastic. Got all the B-roll shots and stuff that I needed. It's all looking really cool. You probably, if you're watching this on YouTube, you'll have spotted that I've got a bit of an overhead mic thing going on, which is something new that I'm playing with. And I've also been playing with the Rode Lavalier 2 lapel mic as well, because I need to work out how the microphone situation is going to work in this studio. Now, obviously, it's kind of a much bigger space, and I'm recording stuff kind of standing up and moving around a bit more, and I need to get sort of decent audio quality. When I recorded stuff at home, of course, before, I just used to use this, my Rode NT USB Plus. I just kind of had it sort of a little bit unobtrusively kind of, in front of my face. Slightly off to one side, but that situation's changed now. I would like to get some stuff recorded at home, and I don't want people to think that I've forgotten about the place already. But yeah, anyway, let's get on with the year in review. So this year, over on the ctrl-alt-rees channel, of course, which is the main channel, this is Rees Rambles. The second channel, I probably shouldn't have to explain that. I published 26 videos this year so far. There's going to be one more, which will be the one that I've just recorded and that I've just started editing. So yeah, 26 videos. That's like obviously 52 weeks in a year. So that works out at obviously a video every 2 weeks, which is quite cool. Quite a nice release schedule. And of course, I've also been doing the weekly rambles and a load of extra stuff on this channel, on the second channel, which we'll talk about as well towards the end of this video. And yeah, or the like supporters stuff. Stuff that's gone out on Patreon, Coffee, and to my YouTube channel members as well, exclusive behind the scenes studio build and a couple of other things that I was kind of fiddling with. So very, very busy boy this year, but I've been having so much fun. I'm really, I think one thing that I've kind of felt this year, kind of over and above the previous 3 years of YouTubing, is that I feel like I've really kind of hit my stride. I've got the process to a place where I'm really happy with it, and I'm kind of putting stuff together in a kind of timely manner without too many hiccups. The community's grown. The solar videos are kind of quite far behind us, hopefully. And the channel's really kind of come into its own. I've had some really big videos this year as well, which is really cool. And obviously we'll talk about those in a moment. And some quite big milestones as well. But yes, we'll talk about all of those. But of course, one thing that I need to acknowledge just before we get into this year is how we finished last year, which was, of course, the Christmas special, the ctrl-alt-rees Christmas special 2022, which was a review of Microsoft Wine Guide. And the Microsoft Wine Guide's actually, I found it the other day, and it's become a permanent part of my studio setup here. And we had so much fun putting this video together. It was really, really good. We're not going to be doing a Christmas special this year. Unfortunately, kind of run out of time and kind of didn't really think of any ideas, really. I thought maybe, some kind of, maybe like another wine-related thing. Like I've discovered very recently, like 2 days ago, that Amazon do own-brand wines. And I thought it might be quite fun to review those for a video. Because obviously it's Amazon and there's that, that connection to technology and all that kind of stuff. And kind of make Christmas wine stuff. I'm just watching this video. I haven't actually watched this for about a year. I can just kind of see it playing back in on my browser here, and it's cool. You should go back and watch that. What I will do is actually, should I put them in a playlist? Nah, I'll link to a few of my favourites down in the description. I don't want to spend too much time making playlists and stuff, but there will also be a link to the main ctrl-alt-rees channel as well, as always, if you want to go and check any of those out, if you spot any that kind of tickle your fancy. But yeah, we finished 2022 with one of my least successful videos ever, which was the Microsoft Wine Guide review. I thought it was fantastic. It was so much fun to put together. I had so much fun editing it. It was a really, really nice video that I'm actually really proud of. But hey, that's the way, isn't it? The ones that are kind of your favourites that you put the most work into are the ones that quite often aren't the most successful. But hey, it's all fine by me. We got to drink lots of wine and make a silly video while we did it. So that was cool. But of course, the topic of this one is this year, 2023. So if we take a little scroll through back to the wine guide one. Yes, so I started off 2023 with this one, 7 Atari Rarities and Prototypes. And that one went out on the 12th of January. So yeah, straight back on it after the Christmas special. And in this one, I covered some weird, wonderful, and rare joysticks and controllers. That was kind of the first chapter of the video, and went into the Atari XE game system, which is one of my favourite Atari consoles. My Pac-Man prototype cartridge, the Atari Sparrow, which is of course the Falcon prototype that I have on my wall at home, and the early Atari TV games, so the Pongs, the Stunt Cycle, the video pinball, which, funnily enough, is actually the topic of the video that's just about to go out this week. Yeah, of course, the Atari video music, my Atari calculators. I really want to do one all about the history of the Atari calculators, just because they're a bit weird and a bit wonderful. And yeah, that was basically the first video of the year. 4,400 views on that one, so kind of typical for my channel. Wasn't a flop and wasn't a breakout success. But again, one that I had a lot of fun putting together and just kind of showing off some of the weirder stuff and linking to some other videos and some other information that I've got out there on my website and things. Previous videos that I'd done. Another one that I'm really proud of, and I think that's going to be a bit of a recurring theme in this because, like I say, I think the channel's really sort of starting to hit its stride this year. But these kind of weird and wonderful, particularly if we go back to the Stunt Cycle and the video pinball. The reason I was getting this stuff out is because I was talking to Lewis. In fact, I've got the book behind me, the Curious Video Games Machines book, which is out now. Obviously, I couldn't say anything publicly about it at the time, but the reason I had all of that stuff out and was kind of reading up on the history of it and actually playing with it was because I was setting it up and sort of taking pictures of it for that book, which is really cool. So keep your eye on ctrl-alt-rees for a video covering that kind of stuff in the very near future. But yes, first video of the year, 4,400 views, which is kind of reasonably successful. So the second one that I did was all about the OG Xbox, my original Crystal Xbox that my girlfriend at the time, now wife, bought for me way back when it was brand new. And that one went out on the 26th of January. So that was that was 2 weeks afterwards. And I remember this one. I was experimenting with kind of different lighting setups and stuff, and the way I kind of go about my kind of YouTube process is I like to try to improve something in every video. Make a minor improvement to my microphone setup or my lighting setup, or learn a new editing trick or whatever. And people always say to me, "Oh, your channel's kind of so polished, and how did you kind of learn all of these skills and things?" And it's like, I just do one small thing every time. You're not going to be perfect when you first start, but after 4 years, all of those things kind of accumulate, and it culminates in quite a nice end result, if I do say so myself. I kind of had to go back to square one again with the studio, but that's been a lot of fun. But obviously that will be coming sort of later on. So yeah, in this one, I modified my original Xbox. Oh, got some lovely macro shots in there. I did buy some new lenses this year. I'm not going to be talking about those in this video, but it's all about the lenses. I should do a video about my setup, about my hardware, maybe. So my Crystal Xbox, I recapped it. I installed an OpenXenium mod chip in there. I obviously put an SSD in there, and this was before the Make Megahertz, the people that did the HDMI mod that I put in this. I did. There's like a fully digital to digital HDMI output mod in my OG Xbox now. And they've done a mod chip now called the Stellar, which I have actually since put in this Xbox, and I didn't do a follow up where I kind of talked about that, but and I've kind of structured all of this as a kind of a tutorial, but kind of if you're considering doing these mods yourself, and these are kind of the mods that I recommend all doing kind of together to get the absolute best out of the original Xbox. you can kind of, I mean, if you're following along at home, it's not really a sort of detailed step by step, and I do explain that in the video, but it's kind of enough to get a feel of what's involved in the process, and see if it's for you. And I do link to the Macho Nacho tutorial, which I actually followed along with when I was working on this, and I was very open about that. It's been a great video, and it's consistently successful, consistently popular on my channel as well. I mean, it got 26,000 views in 10 months, which is fantastic. And actually, it wasn't sort of a massive breakout success initially. It's one that's kind of accumulated very slowly. It's been a slow burner because it's one of those evergreen videos. People go out there they're thinking of doing this with their own Xbox, and they go out looking for information on it, then perhaps they'll stumble across this video, and it will help to point them in the right direction, let them know what they need to buy to actually do the mod and all of that kind of stuff. And actually, speaking of letting people know what they need to buy to do the mod, this has affiliate links. So I'm not all about the affiliate links, but I do quite often, if I use certain bits of hardware and stuff, I use a service called Genius, GENI.us. And basically, you put an Amazon product link in there, and it will spit out a Genius link, which will then, if people click on it, it will redirect them to their local Amazon. So I don't link to Amazon UK or US or whatever. It's kind of all handled automatically. And if that happens to be Amazon US or Amazon UK, then I get some commission from that because I'm signed up on both of those sort of affiliate schemes. I don't. It doesn't increase the price of the actual product to the purchaser. It just means that I get a bit of a cut from that, which is fantastic. And actually, that's kind of got to the point now. And I don't mind saying that that's earning me about £140 a month, something like that, just from people clicking on those affiliate links. And again, it's providing a useful service to people. I'm just watching this video, and the lighting the lighting isn't brilliant. It's providing, genuinely useful stuff that people want to buy to sort of follow the mod. And this is something I've done in a few videos now. And it helps them, they can help out and kind of support the channel as well at the same time, which is great. And a bit of a slow burn, a bit of a successful video, but second video of the year. Maybe it will hit 30,000 views, for its first anniversary in January. I'm not sure, but slow burner, very very good evergreen video. That nice sort of comprehensive mod guide, and lots of links to all the bits that people need, and to places where they can find more information. And at the end, obviously, I've got some game captures, kind of showing off how it compares to the more traditional approaches, like using a RetroTink or OSSC or whatever. And I will say there's been one more update with regards to this Xbox. It's one of my absolute favourite consoles, the original Xbox. I love it, and obviously this one's HDMI modded now, which is even better. I recently bought a 1440p gaming monitor, and because this outputs in 720p, obviously that's a direct, 2 times scale, and it looks absolutely fantastic. It looks so much better than it did on my my kind of rubbish old 4K monitor, and absolutely brilliant. So if you're playing a lot of 720p content, I think a 1440p monitor kind of makes sense. Maybe someone will correct me and say that actually it doesn't for whatever reason, but to me, it's an integer scale. Kind of makes sense, doesn't it? Anyway, I've talked far too long about this video. Let's move on to the next one. So the next video that went out in 2023 was my Danet record player. And this one went out on the 13th of February, so the day before Valentine's Day. Lovely. I remember we stayed away for Valentine's Day, and I remember putting this one public just as we were going out the door, and then kind of checking the stats a couple of times while we were away. But This is a 1960s Danet record player, which is an all-in-one thing. They're not very good. The audiophiles in the audience will say, well, why bother restoring that because it sounds rubbish? And I agree, and it's something I'm quite sort of open about in the video. But, it's just a nice thing. It's British, made in the UK, real piece of history, and just a lovely tactile thing to kind of get your hands on and play with. And this was an ongoing project that I'd been working on for years. This is like a collection of maybe 2 years worth of footage that I've been getting on my phone as I've just been tinkering with this thing in the background. It was, it was kind of more of a passion project, really, that I just happened to get some footage of just in case. And Really pleased I ended up putting this one together. 4,900 views as it stands. Not a massively successful one, but a reasonably good view count for my channel. And more, I think more importantly, a really fun project to work on. And we do use this, even though it doesn't sound brilliant. We have it in our living room. It's permanently set up, and we do play records on it. And it's just a bit of background noise, and it's just a nice thing. And it's nice to. I do work on non-computer and non-gaming stuff, in my spare time. Famously, the solar stuff as well. And it was just nice to cover something slightly different on the channel, I think. So it was quite nice to see that one doing well. And then, of course, that one was followed up. Oh, this was really interesting. So also one of the least successful videos of the year. If you're counting view count as your your indicator of success. 1,300 views. People weren't interested in this one whatsoever, which is fair enough. Basically, what happened was a friend of mine has a young daughter, and she said, "Oh, yeah, you want to?" There's this exhibition about local game developers, because my office where I kind of work in my day job is in Leamington Spa in Warwickshire in the UK. And she said, "Oh, there's this exhibition of kind of local game developers. Do you want to come down?" Of course, Leamington Spa being famously the home of Codemasters and a lot of the kind of British gaming industry. Codemasters, incidentally, we are on the Southam side of Leamington, so we're like 5 minutes down the road from Codemasters, but different story. And there was this little exhibition just in the local kind of museum, and I didn't have my camera or anything like that. Didn't want to kind of do commentary as I went around, so just took my phone, got some shots of stuff, and thought, you know what, I'll share this with my subscribers. I think people will enjoy seeing this odd little collection of stuff. And like I say, it wasn't a successful video, but it was a bit of a test for a format that I wanted to use kind of later on in the year, because at this point I knew that we were going to be going away later on in the year, and that there was some stuff that I wanted to make videos about kind of on location. And I thought, well, I can use this as a bit of a test, see if my phone's kind of a viable way of getting footage for something like this. And it is what it is. So that one went out on... When was that one released? That was the 26th of Feb. So again, another couple of weeks since the previous one. And that was quite quickly followed up on the 9th of March with my Xbox Live Arcade video that I'd been working on for quite a while. And this is another one that I'm really proud of, and there's a bit of a recurring theme. I know it's kind of sad that I love my own stuff so much, but I love it. I do put a lot of work into it. I'm wearing my iconic green T-shirt in a lot of these as well. And this came as a direct result of that original Xbox video that I did. I spent a lot of time playing with my original Xbox again. I really, really got back into it in a big way. And I discovered the Xbox Live Arcade disc, which is something I didn't experience back in the day because we were on dial-up until like really late, because we live in quite a rural area. And it was like Xbox Live Arcade, which I always associated with the Xbox 360. And, I had the 360 after the OG Xbox, and I downloaded loads of the Live Arcade games. It came out on the OG Xbox back in the day. Obviously in the form of a disc that you had to sort of have in the drive to be able to access it. And I thought, this is really interesting. This is so cool. And it'll be something that a lot of people haven't played with for a very long time. Nobody had, I think MVG had kind of coincidentally, as I was working on this, had done a video about the Xbox 360 Xbox Live Arcade, but he'd kind of touched on the original, but not really sort of gone into any detail. So I thought, I'll show people how to get it all set up if they want to play with it again. I will image the discs so people can download it. There was some controversy around that, about me not doing it in the correct format or something. Got nerds moaning at me on Twitter or whatever. But that's all kind of part and parcel of what we do. And just kind of go through and show people what all of the games were. Obviously, a lot of these games kind of made their way onto the 360, like Hexic and Zuma and all that kind of stuff. And just a really fun little video to put together, this one. And there were quite a lot of people. It turns out there's actually some people who are very sort of passionate and into the original Xbox Live Arcade, and I had quite a few people sort of thanking me for covering it, which was great. A lot of kind of positive response to this one, and a few people kind of pointing out little things. And there was one correction, something that I said about hard disk space or something about how it couldn't be installed to the hard disk that wasn't right. I edited that one out because a couple of people did call me out on that, and it turned out that I could edit it out really easily after the fact. So got rid of that. 20-second offhand comment or whatever it was. But based on all the feedback that I had from that, on the 16th of March, so like a week later, I put out just a little update video, just covering a bit more of the history and some of the stuff that I'd kind of learned and stuff that I'd been told by people in the comments. This was actually very nearly a second channel video, hence the different filming setup and the different angle and stuff. I tend to do kind of this side-on angle in my, in my second channel videos, or at least I was at the time. And I'd gone on eBay and I'd bought some of the original Xbox Live Arcade discs, and I wanted to kind of show those off and sort of talk about the differences between the different releases. There was a CD-based release and a DVD-based release, and just a little addendum and a little update off the back of that original Xbox Live Arcade video. And that one got 2,000 views, 2,100, which is less than half of what the original got, but it was just nice. It's just that I couldn't find that information out there anywhere, and just kind of wanted to kind of provide a bit more of a complete picture for anyone who was looking for it. So just makes sense to do a bit of a follow-up on that one. So after that, oh yes, now this one, the stuff that this led to, wow. So there's the Atari PC Story. This one came out on the 26th of March. So yeah, really productive year for me this year. And this was an Atari PC 3 that was very kindly, let's just skip back to the beginning for the benefit of my video viewers, an Atari PC 3 that was very, very kindly donated to me by a guy called Gary, who's a really lovely, really generous sort of member of our community. He's done a lot for the community over the years, and I do thank him profusely for entrusting me with this very rare and interesting machine. And I've been meaning to make a documentary on it and kind of cover the history of the Atari PC division, which wasn't very well known. It wasn't really sort of known that Atari were releasing IBM-compatible PCs in the 80s. And in the course of looking for that, of course, I discovered Atari Legend. Obviously, I'm familiar with the channel and I do watch his stuff, but I discovered that he'd done a series a couple of years ago, really, really covering the whole thing in great detail. And there wasn't really much that I could add. So what I did was kind of, obviously I got in touch with him and I was like, can I use some of your footage and kind of talk about how you've covered all of this in great detail? And he was really, really happy. He's very familiar with my channel. He's probably watching this right now, so shout out to you. And I know he's also working on a follow-up as well and getting some people involved, including me. Yeah, obviously I wanted to kind of have a poke around that Atari PC and kind of show how it all worked and how it was different from sort of the other IBM-compatible PCs that I've played with over the years, early kind of XT machines and obviously the IBMs themselves, which I own and sort of know very well. And it led to this funny interaction that I had with Clint from LGR. Now, I've emailed Clint a few times over the years, and we've had nice chats and things. Really lovely guy, really genuine. A very kind of happy to engage with people and chat to people. And it turns out he watches my channel, and I emailed him off on the off chance because I wanted a very short quote from Jack Tramiel, who owned Atari at the time. This one that's on screen at the moment. Today we declare war on the computer industry, and I thought, wouldn't it be funny if I got Clint to read that? Just people just wouldn't be expecting it at all. Wouldn't be expecting him to pop up on a channel of my size. And I thought, if I'm kind of somewhat friendly enough with him, I'll ask. There's no harm in asking. And like 3 or 4 days went past, and I kind of thought, oh, okay, maybe he's not got time to do it. Whatever, it's absolutely fair enough. No hard feelings or anything like that. I appreciate he's a very busy guy, and then this email came through with a file attached, and he'd actually recorded the line for me, and he'd said some nice things about how much fun it was, and if I needed anything else, don't hesitate to get in touch and all that kind of stuff. And that was kind of when I kind of got talking to him a bit more seriously, I think. Yeah, that led to me actually interviewing him later in the year, which of course we will also take a look at. So yeah, big thanks to Clint for helping out with that video, because that was great. And I really think it was a good laugh, and it added a lot. And I did get some good comments about that. And yeah, I mean, that's on 13,000 views. That's fantastic. That's done really well for my channel. So really pleased with how that one was. And just how it all came together, it was just nice kind of having a poke around that computer and kind of talking about the internals and getting it up and running. And just your kind of your classic PC. It didn't need any restoration because it had been so well looked after. But, just kind of tearing it down, seeing what's inside it, filming it from loads of different interesting angles, and eventually, powering it up and exploring the original hard drive, which was still in there and still had the original owner's files on it. So that was a really nice video to put together. I really enjoyed that one. I'm going to keep saying this, aren't I? And a follow-up off the back of that one, I did a load of research into the history of Gem, which is the desktop environment that was running on that PC. And obviously, of course, also the desktop environment that was used on the Atari ST in 1985. So yeah, straight off the back of that video on the 13th of May, a couple of weeks later, I did this little documentary. I was going to do this as part of that video originally, and then I was running out of time and I wanted to get it out the door, and I just thought I'll do it as like a follow-up again, like I did with the Xbox thing, and put together this sort of self-contained little kind of mini documentary about the story of Graphic Environment Manager and how it was released and how it came together, and obviously Gary Kildall from Digital Research and the lawsuit from Apple, because obviously a lot of it was kind of inspired by the story is obviously there was the Xerox Alto, which of course Steve Jobs famously had that demo of and kind of borrowed some elements of, and it turned out that Gary Kildall from Digital Research had also had a demo of it and also kind of borrowed some elements for his desktop interface, and then Apple saw Gem and decided that actually Gem must have stolen it from them. And there was a whole lawsuit. And I spent so much time researching this. And the one piece of feedback that I always get on this video is people saying, I basically called it How Apple Ruined Gem. I'd implicated Steve Jobs in it quite heavily, including putting him on the thumbnail. And the feedback I get from people is, oh, but Gem was released in 1985 and Steve Jobs was kicked out of Apple in 1985. So how could he have possibly been responsible for this lawsuit? And it's like, well, a year's a long time. Gem was released in February, and Steve Jobs didn't actually leave until the November. You can tell I've got a bit of a chip on my shoulder about this, haven't you? Steve Jobs didn't actually leave until the November, which gave him basically nearly a whole year. And while I can't find any, I spent so long, I wanted to make this kind of the hook of the story. And I spent so long looking for this like smoking gun, just a direct quote from Steve Jobs saying, yes, let's sue Digital Research. And admittedly, I must admit, being entirely honest, I didn't find it. I found quite a few things saying that it was the board of Apple and it had come right from the top and stuff like that. But there was no direct quote from Steve Jobs. But he was, of course, famously very litigious. He was quite hot-headed and, enjoyed trying to take down his competitors and stuff. So, hey, all the circumstantial evidence points to him. It's fine, isn't it? Isn't it? A little bit of poetic license. Ultimately, you can't prove it, but you can't disprove it. But the timing works out, and I don't think the argument that it happened in the same year that he happened to leave really kind of holds any weight, really, because he did an awful lot, and ultimately his exit from Apple originally in '85 was quite a fast moving thing. So. Anyway, just an interesting little piece of history. Apart from the tiny little Steve Jobs tidbit that some people have decided to pick fault with for no reason, it's a good documentary, I think. Just a very kind of brief history, only 6.5 minutes long. Just talking about a desktop environment that a lot of people perhaps aren't familiar with, or maybe they've seen it on the ST and not realised that it was kind of a much bigger thing than that, and it was available on other machines, including Atari's own PCs and, of course, on the Amstrad PCs as well. So. Cool little documentary that. I enjoy putting it together. And 12,000 views as it stands at the moment. And this is after the Xbox video, this is probably the second kind of popular evergreen video on my channel. It quite regularly shows up in my top 5 videos in YouTube Studio. And quite a lot of people watching that, and quite a lot of the same comments over and over again. In fact, I've stopped checking the comments on that video, so apologies if you're one of the people who have commented on it. But there's only so many times you can read the same thing over and over again. But anyway, after that, oh yes, of course, after that was the N64 video, another one that's done quite reasonably well. So I had this Nintendo 64 that I'd bought from Bai from Japan years and years ago, before I had a YouTube channel. And what on earth is this? Oh, it's me talking about my childhood. The green T-shirt making an appearance again. And this was because the Xbox video had done so well. I thought, well, I'll do another console. I'll do another sort of HDMI mod, and I did an RGB mod alongside this as well, RGB SCART output. I thought, yeah, I'll do the same video, but for another console, and perhaps it can turn into like a series. And also, I wanted to sell the N64 because I've got no connection to it, got no love for the N64 as a console. And the Mister Core had kind of very recently been announced, and I have a Mister, and it's kind of how I play these games. And I thought, well, there's no point owning an actual original console, so I'll finally get it sorted out and sell it, which I did in the end. It went on eBay and it sold for quite a healthy amount of money, which was great. Obviously, quite a lot of games with it as well, all original Japanese games. And so again, similar to the Xbox video, just a bit of a good old-fashioned hardware modding video, and then me kind of going through and just discovering some of the more popular games on the system. Of course, that I'd never played because I don't have any experience with the N64. And it's how I discovered Doom 64, which I'd always written off, but actually played it for the first time on this console, and it's a good game. It's worth checking out, and it's of course available. There is a remastered version available on the PC now as well, which I did play through this year. So very cool. I enjoyed that video. 8,600 views, so kind of above average. Obviously, people looking for information on the HDMI mod and stuff like that. Another sort of cool video for the channel. That was 26th of May. And then the next one was the 23rd of June. Now, this is a really interesting story. So we'll have a look at this one. And it's called The Atari Museum's Rarest and Coolest Exhibits. And the beginning of this video starts off talking about Kurt Vendel, who was he was a really big member of the Atari community. And he actually very sadly passed away before his time, sort of back in 2021. He was 53 years old, I think. And he'd done so much to kind of document and collect like a rare Atari history, rare prototypes and that kind of stuff. Very much a kind of a kindred spirit in the community. And as someone I did have some chats with on Facebook Messenger as well back in the day. And, really friendly guy. Also designed the flashback consoles, which are at least the first 2 flashback consoles, which I do talk about in this video. And he had a website called AtariMuseum.com. And it was hosted from his own server in his house, and nobody else had access to this server. So when he passed away, nobody could get into it, and the domain registration expired, and nobody could actually get onto the server to get the original files to kind of host it anywhere else or whatever else. And it had gone; it disappeared from history. And I loved Atari Museum back in the day, and I still used it for research for videos and stuff. On archive.org and whatnot. So I took it upon myself to go onto archive.org and kind of dig out all of the old files and basically rebuild the site as it was just before it went down. Of course, you'll know if you've used archive.org, if you've used the Wayback Machine, it's quite often quite slow, and there's missing files and that kind of stuff. And I put it all back together, and I put it on my own web hosting. Made it a subdomain of my own site, so it's not going anywhere. And actually, after this video went out, I had a really nice chat with Carl Morris, who he's an Irish chap who publishes books about Atari history nowadays. And he was Kurt's, I'm not going to say business partner because it wasn't a business as such, but he was his partner in something called the Atari Historical Society, and actually had his own website as well. And he was involved with the Atari Museum website. And he basically gave me his official endorsement. He basically said, Kurt would have been really happy with this, that that someone had actually bothered to sort of preserve all of his work. And yeah, you know, you can treat it as an official mirror kind of thing, which was really nice off the back of that. And yeah, really cool. So that was the definite highlight of the year for me. And sorry, good to see that that website's still kind of going strong as well, which is fantastic. And I thought as part of that, rather than just announcing, oh, I've brought this old website back from the dead, obviously most people won't be familiar with it. I thought what I'll do is, obviously, as I went through, that I made notes of a few things that I thought, oh, okay, I can make videos about these. These are quite interesting stories, because I went through every single page on the website fixing stuff. And yeah, I thought actually, I'll pick out some of my favourites and just kind of talk about them, talk about the stories that are on the website and show some of the photos. It is mainly photos. There's not really much kind of video. I just kind of put together this little video, just kind of pointing out how much cool stuff was on there. Dig up some of my own historical footage, get some quotes and things, and yeah, just sort of talk about Kurt's life, work in putting this museum website together, and all of that. So very cool. Definitely a highlight of the year for me, the Atari Museum video, and of course putting the website back together. And yeah, another string to my bow, as they say. So after that came a channel update. I don't do channel updates, but it'd been like nearly a month, and the next project. What was the next project I was working on? Oh, okay. I mean, I kind of lost my way a little bit in the summer, I guess, and I hadn't put anything out for like 3 weeks, and I was getting a bit nervous that I hadn't released anything on the channel. So I thought, oh God, what's that shot? That's awful. That's from a much older video. You see what I mean about kind of making sort of small incremental improvements. Distracted myself now. So I thought I'll do a channel update, because it's been like 3 years and I haven't really done channel updates. And I wanted to introduce people to the second channel. I wanted to talk a little bit about my Patreon and just make people aware that it was a thing. Also, this Reese Rambles, I'd put a few out by that point, and I just kind of wanted to draw people's attention to it, and just in case they were interested. And talk about the solo videos. I took these solo videos down. Obviously, that's quite a notorious story now, so I won't go over that again. And also talk about sponsorships and kind of my approach to sponsorships, and how I don't really do them because I don't really like them. And when I do them, I want them kind of quite well integrated into the video, and I don't want them to distract people or kind of ruin the flow of the video or all that kind of stuff. And funnily enough, there's actually a plugin for YouTube called Sponsor Block that I probably shouldn't be telling you about, but there is. And someone, basically, it's kind of crowdsourced, and it relies on people marking at the beginning and the end of sponsor sections in YouTube videos. And if you have this extension, it basically automatically skips them for you, which is, I've actually uninstalled it now, because it just didn't really work very well. It ended up like cutting people off mid-sentence. And then there were some channels that were doing really sort of cool and quite creative sponsor spots, and that I actually wanted to watch. So I thought, sod it, I'll just get rid of it. But this whole section about me talking about how much I don't like sponsorships, someone actually marked it as a sponsor section. I do show a very brief clip of like a previous one that I'd done with JLC PCB, but that was it. But evidently someone wasn't even paying attention to the video. Was desperate for some brownie points, and I don't know if you get like a karma type thing with your sponsor block or what, but anyway, that's just an interesting aside on that video. Yes, in the background you can see the Lego Atari 2600, and I was actually doing quite a few sort of second channel and supporter videos at the time, which is probably what held up the main channel a little bit, and that Lego Atari 2600 was one of them. So yeah, not a very interesting or useful video, but 3,700 views, kind of sort of average for my channel. And yeah, I can't say that I'll be doing any in the near future. Obviously, any announcements to do with the channel or whatever else I'll do here on Reese Rambles. So, but you got to do these things, haven't you? You got to do these things. And yeah, shortly after that, following on from my lack of, in fact, no, let's not talk about that. A video that did insanely well. This was quite a low effort video. I'm not ashamed to say. This was on the 2nd of August, and these are the machines that I'd bought from the Northwest Computer Museum. Now, yeah, the thing that was kind of holding me up over the summer is that I was working on a project, a kind of an ongoing project, and it's something I'm going to be recording at some point in the very near future. It's kind of one of my plans to get it out the door and actually get it done. And it was just dragging on forever. But this was kind of the next video in my, oh dear, I've not really got anything planned. I guess I should probably make a video. So I went and dug all of these old computers up out of the garage, and we've got a Commodore PET, we've got the disk drive for it, the 8050, the PCXT 5160, the AT 5170, and another 5170. And what I did was I set up an overhead camera, and well, I've got the overhead camera at home anyway, and just recorded me with live commentary, sort of tearing them down, just kind of poking around inside them. And a big part of this was as a result of the rambles. A big reason I started doing Rees Rambles, and I will talk about the second channel a little bit later on, is because I wanted to work more on. I really wanted to work on kind of speaking off the cuff and unscripted, because all my main channel videos are scripted, and I wanted to do more stuff like this, where I was just kind of free form talking about stuff. But I was terrible at it. I was absolutely terrible at it, and at this point, I think I'd recorded enough rambles that I was actually starting to feel a bit more confident. And I thought, yeah, let's do like a freeform video. I did a little bit of research before, just on the specs of the machines and stuff like that. So I had some kind of interesting facts to drop in there as I was recording. But yeah, mostly completely unscripted video. And people found it really interesting. And loads of good comments off the back of this one. 18,000 views, which is great. And that's a really respectable view count. And really good retention on this one as well. People actually watching the entire video. So I was really, really pleased with that. And I want to do more stuff like this and include more segments like this in other videos that I do. Because, people found it really... I mean, I shouldn't be surprised, really, because I find this kind of stuff really interesting as well. Like Adrian's Digital Basement and that kind of stuff, where it's just him poking around stuff. It's like, ooh, what's in there? That's interesting. So... Hey, that was kind of going to be the blueprint for some future stuff. And there you go. So, really interesting success story, that one, from something that I wasn't really kind of expecting. So that's cool. And incidentally, I've also been working on an overhead filming setup here as well at the new studio. It's one thing I really want to get set up, get a camera mounted on the ceiling pointing downwards, so I can do this kind of thing here. So, watch this space on that one. And the next one, oh yes, I love this one. This was a really good project, this. So the Atari 2800 was, of course, the Japanese version of the Atari 2600. And I actually worked with, I was chatting to Lee from Lee Smith's workshop. And the guy's a genius when it comes to like 3D printing stuff and PCB fabrication, and he just makes some really amazing things. He made the Mectrum, which is like a brand new ZX Spectrum case with a fully mechanical keyboard. Really cool thing. And he'd seen my video about the Atari 2800, and he really loved the controller and said, "Oh, I'd quite like to have a go at sort of making a reproduction of that. Could you send me one?" And of course, I did. He spent a few months working on it and made his own video all about it, which is fantastic. Really great video. I really enjoyed it. And yeah, he sent the prototype back to me, or at least the first sort of complete prototype. And it was great. I got it hooked up and I tested it, and it was just fantastic. It was such a fun thing to play with. And he did such a good job of this. And I believe, in fact, he is actually selling, or he has sold, some kits for people to build their own version of this. And I think he's still kind of tweaking it in the background and working on some different versions and some refinements and stuff. But yeah, they're just a really cool project to be involved with, and a really cool end result, which was a lot of fun to play with. You can also tell in this video that it was very, very hot when I recorded this. I'm looking very sweaty in this one. That room... that spare room at home where I used to record all my videos, gets really, really hot in the summer. And fortunately this place has air conditioning, so hopefully that won't be a problem in 2024. But it's a great video. That I enjoyed that project a lot. 3,000 views, so a little bit on the low side for my channel. But hey, again, a fun one to put together. And so yeah, we'll go on to the next one. So the next video was this. It was like an ASMR video. So this is what I'm talking about with my ongoing summer project. This came out 3 days after the 2800 controller video because it was just a silly little thing. Very nearly ended up on the second channel, and I just thought, no, I like this. It's quite kind of arty and quite cool. So I'll put it on the main channel. And it's literally just no talking, no commentary, no information, anything like that. It's just me loading up an old 4-disc multi-changer with CDs and sort of showing it in action. And I actually I mounted 2 microphones. There's one just out of shot, just behind the PC, and there's one actually underneath the drive inside. You can actually see one of the mics on the video in the background. And yeah, there was another one underneath the drive recording all the noises and stuff. And I actually spent quite a bit of time just tweaking the audio and getting it sounding really nice. So yeah, I did it as a kind of a weird ASMR thing, just a bit of fun. Because this PC here, this is my summer project. You can actually see here, this is the NEC PC 9821. And the one that I really want to get finished and get out the door soon. But yeah, it's just, I've just been fiddling with it for ages. And you'll see why in the video, and it's going to be a longer one. But yeah, just a bit of fun, that. And I was actually in the process of talking to Clint about my next video, which I think was a highlight of the year for me. And of course, it was my interview with Clint from LGR, an hour and a half video, 1 hour 35 minutes. Still brilliant retention on that, considering how long it was. I mean, they are saying now that longer videos are doing well on YouTube, and perhaps I just kind of caught that wave. But yeah, 24th of August, really sort of positively received video, highly upvoted, lots of decent comments. And yeah, this came off the back of the Atari PC video that I mentioned earlier, that I'd done kind of earlier in the year. And, I've been chatting back and forth with Clint, and I was like, we should chat, we should do a video call and just sort of talk about old computer stuff. We've got so much in common. I mean, we're a very similar age. He's like a year, I think he's like 2 years younger than me, maybe just under 2 years. Very similar experiences to me growing up, same hardware, same games. And we just sort of hit it off, chatting off the back of this Atari PC video. And it was like, yeah, let's do a video call. And I was like, and initially I wasn't going to record it. It was just going to be, let's have a chat with Clint. Why not? And at some point I was like, yeah, no, I should do this as like a podcast thing and, put it out on my channel because people will find it interesting. And, obviously Clint was up for it. It was like, yeah, perfectly happy for you to kind of record it and put it out there. And we had so much fun. I mean, we spent probably half an hour chatting before I actually hit record. And then we probably spent, at the end of this, I was really, really conscious of taking up too much of his time. I was thinking, big shot superstar YouTuber, I don't want to waste his time. And he I basically couldn't get him to stop talking in the end. And, I was kind of doing the polite British thing and making my excuses and like, I'm sure you've got things to get on with and all that kind of thing. And he was like, yeah, I'm going to go and record a video this afternoon. I don't think that was, I didn't include that because there were some details of something that he was working on that wasn't going to be out yet. And, it was it was so nice chatting to Clint. He's such a nice guy and we got on so well. And, yeah, so like I say, so much in common, and that interview went down really well. People kind of loved just sort of hearing the story. I didn't want to structure it like a normal sort of interrogation style podcast and have a list of questions and so what's the story? What inspired you to start a YouTube channel? What's your favourite video to work on and all that kind of stuff. We kind of touched on stuff like that in the kind of the natural course of the conversation, but it was very much a very sort of free flowing thing and. Bit of a nightmare to edit, but yeah, I'm really pleased really pleased with how that one came together. That was a real highlight of the year for me, and 43,000 views, loads of positive feedback on that, and it was a really cool video, and of course, really cool to sort of finally chat to Clint as well, because we'd kind of been chatting over email, and yeah, great guy, Clint, and obviously I've been a fan of his channel since the very early days. I mean, I've been watching YouTube since pretty much it began, and he was one of those really early pioneers, and yeah, just so kind of modest and down to earth, and very, very kind of inspirational for anyone kind of making a channel like ours. But anyway, I'll stop sucking up to Clint now, and we'll move on to the next one. So the next one, is the book. Yes. Another video that didn't do very well at all, but whatever. This was, I mentioned this earlier. As you can see, there's another slight jump in production quality here. This might have been when I got my Sigma lens, which I use for pretty much everything now. Just looking at the depth of field on that, on these shots. Yeah, that's got to be the Sigma, hasn't it? That's a nice shot. So obviously, I spoke earlier about how I'd been talking to Lewis Packwood, the British game journalist, and how he'd written a book. There he is, and I'd done quite a bit of consultancy on an Atari chapter for the book, and also provided some of the devices that he wanted to feature and some information and some photos and stuff like that. So I was really, really proud to have been involved with that. That was really nice. And of course, the book's out now. You can actually buy that. And my next video on the main channel will be kind of a bit of an update on that, if you haven't worked it out already. 1,200 videos, that's absolutely abysmal. It's a 4-minute video. It wouldn't have had ads on it, so I guess YouTube didn't push it at all. People, very sort of hardcore fans, people who have the notifications on and stuff like that, obviously watched it and were very proud of me and very pleased for me. And some really lovely comments and stuff on that one. But I was really proud to be involved with that, and I still am, and I'm really pleased with the way it came together. It's a really, really cool book. And last weekend I was also involved with the launch event, which of course you'll be hearing all about in my next video on the main channel on ctrl-alt-rees. But moving swiftly on and talking about videos that haven't been very successful. The two that I mentioned earlier when I'd been to the exhibition, and I said that I knew I was going to be away at some point, were all about the Musée Mécanique in San Francisco. So this is very similar in style to that game dev exhibition that I covered earlier in the year, which was very deliberate. So this is just a big museum of kind of old mechanical arcade games and stuff like that, fortune tellers and penny arcade machines and stuff. Loads of really old stuff, and it's a really big collection. It's really cool. And this is on Pier 45, on Pier whatever it is in San Francisco, the big famous one. Well worth a visit, free to enter, and everything's like 25 cents to play with. So fantastic. Had an amazing time there, and I loved it. And I thought, do a video while I'm on holiday. Why not? So recorded it all on my phone. Did a voiceover and everything afterwards when we got back. 1,900 views, again, not a hugely successful one, kind of a bit off topic for my channel. And this is one I kind of rebranded a few times, as I changed the thumbnail and the title and the description, things to do in San Francisco. And it just never kind of hit the right audience, which is a shame because, there's some really cool stuff in here. But hey, it's out there, and it's still kind of slowly picking up views over the years. And I'm sure anyone planning a trip there, looking for videos on the place will come across it and hopefully find it useful. And the same for the Pinball Hall of Fame in Las Vegas as well. Exactly the same format, exactly the same setup. It's a huge pinball museum in Las Vegas. This was the end of our trip. We kind of started off up in San Francisco and made our way down to LA and then across to Nevada to Las Vegas. And again, I knew sort of months in advance that I was going to be making this video. And yeah, again, really pleased with how it came together, and pretty much the same view count as the other one. They kind of both went out together, 1.9 thousand views, and they're just really interesting places, and they were good videos. I enjoyed making them, and I think sometimes that's what matters. You can't get too tied up with view counts and things. So that's easy for me to say, having had some big uns this year, but hey, I enjoyed making them. I'm going to enjoy watching them in a few years, revisiting them and reminding me of that amazing holiday that we had. So, that was those two. And they went out, of course, on the 26th of September, and then a couple of weeks later on the 10th of October. And then there was a big turning point for the channel. So back in October, after talking to my old employer, my old boss from 15 years ago, and a good friend of mine who owns this office and this whole kind of little estate here, he finally gave me the keys to my very own YouTube studio. And really big turning point for the channel, this. One of the best moves I've had. I made all year, probably in the history of the channel. It's been such a useful space, and I'm barely getting started. I mean, it's barely been 2 months. And didn't really know what I wanted from the space at first. So, I kind of got talking to him and said, "Oh, can I have, can I have the vacant office that's been empty for the past year or so? Can I, dump some of my stuff in there and use it as a space to kind of sort it out?" He was like, "Yeah, no problem at all." And oh, by the way, do you mind if I record some videos in there? And he's like, "Yeah, it's great." I mean, he watches the channel. He's always been quite supportive of me and stuff that I do. And yeah, that kind of escalated into all of this, which I will say he does love it a lot. He has been in quite a few times, and always chats to me about stuff. And he does watch these videos. He's probably watching right now. And yeah, this was me moving into this office, and I did quite a few supporter exclusive videos off the back of this, which I will talk about a little bit later on, and just showing people kind of real time the kind of build process and stuff. And the interesting thing about this is, 3,600 views, which is kind of fairly typical. The interesting thing about this is I had some comments from, I've not got anything ready to show you, but from some big channels, some big YouTubers, people like Phil's Computer Lab, Pixel Pipes, Action Retro, LGR, Neil RMC. They all kind of came out of the woodwork and commented on this and were congratulating me and were like, "Oh, this is a really good, this is a really big move, well done," kind of thing. Really cool to kind of see the channel going from strength to strength, which was really nice to kind of be recognised by a lot of my kind of peers and people who have inspired me. There's going to be others that I've forgotten about, so apologies if I haven't just given you a shout out. But yeah, and it again, like a lot of the stuff that I do, I didn't go in with any kind of plan. I was just like, well, other people rent offices and turn them into studios, so let's give it a go and see how it goes. And didn't know how it was going to be laid out or how it was going to work or anything like that. And then, in a matter of weeks, it all just came together really quickly. I did loads of update videos behind the scenes. This was just a bit of fun, just moving stuff over. That kind of took a bit of a Casey Neistat type route with this one, with the music and the sped up footage and the interesting angles and stuff. Quite a terrible video production wise. Lighting's terrible, sound's terrible. Probably the worst video technically that I've done on my channel for quite a long time. But hey, you got to show these things, realistically as they happen. And then there were 2 more videos in that series which went out on the channel. Let's just round off with those. So they went out on the 2nd of November and the 20th of November. So yeah, you can see how quickly it all kind of came together. And then I decided, I have actually done quite a bit more work on this, and I probably should do a bit more of a roundup video or like a studio tour type thing. And I want to do some streaming from here, and I'll probably kind of incorporate it into that as well. This is kind of part of sort of testing that streaming setup. And I decided to kind of leave it there. Those videos they were doing all right. The first one did 3,600, the next one did 3,470, 2,700. So, reasonably successful videos by the standards of my channel, and obviously a lot of interest kind of from long-term viewers and stuff. But just thought, I don't want to overdo it with the studio videos, and the bulk of it's done, and I was kind of up and running and recording stuff. So let's do an actual video from the studio. But just before we do that, I do want to talk about my most successful video of the year, and this one was completely unexpected, and it was the Atari 2600 mod video, not the new 2600 Plus. That video did well, and I will talk about that because that's kind of the last one on the list. But I'd basically those computers I mentioned before that I bought from the Northwest Computer Museum. They basically threw these in for free. They were in like a junk box and didn't know if they worked and didn't really have any plans to do anything with them. And I just ended up kind of bringing them home, and they just sat around. I mean, I've got other Atari 2600s, and I thought, wouldn't it be nice to kind of get them fixed up and cleaned up and kind of repaired and install Ultimate Atari video mods in them, which obviously give you composite video and S-video output on them. And then I could donate them back to the museum, and they can actually use them in the museum. I just thought, why not? A fun little project for me. I enjoy working on 2600s. They're always very easy and kind of well within my comfort zone. I thought I'd do a little bit of a video, a little video, 14 minutes worth, and it went mental. I don't know if it was the thumbnail. It was probably the engagement, because there's some quite controversial stuff in this. I do. You can see the face that I actually made when I was talking about it, but yeah, I drilled holes in the consoles. Now, I don't advocate drilling holes in important historical bits of hardware. You shouldn't do it. You shouldn't. But these Atari 2600s, they made 30 million of them, I think. I think it was over 30 million. So they're not some rare historical artifact. These were rescued from a literal junk box, and they were very battered and destroyed, and they would have been either disposed of eventually or just forgotten about in a box somewhere. And they need to be used in a museum setting. If people, if some kid wrenches it off the desk or it gets knocked or whatever, and it pulls the cable out, and or a plug gets crushed on a cable, they need to be able to swap stuff in and out very easily. And I think it's easy to justify, at least in this very specific set of circumstances. I mean, I don't need to justify myself. Ultimately, if you own these things, you can do whatever the hell you want with them. But yeah, it was interesting to see how many people were upset about the fact that I'd put the ports in the back, and I put them like underneath. You can't actually see them looking at the outside of the console, and the cables. And I very specifically used black connectors for them, so they were very unintrusive, and I think it looks great, and I wouldn't hesitate at all to do it on my own console. I mean, I didn't with my Heavy Sixer. I used a cable. Heavy Sixer is a bit of a rarer version, and probably one that commands a bit more respect. But certainly these, they were well battered and all of the above. But yeah, 97,000 views in a month. I mean, that's insane. It is insane. And yeah, it's just been massively successful. Obviously, the 2600 Plus is out, and people are kind of looking for information on that. So I guess the YouTube algorithm thinks that 2600 is kind of trending at the moment. So it's probably been pushing it quite hard because of that. But yeah, loads of engagement, loads of views, not great retention on that one. Some people actually interested, if you look at it's interesting to see the bits that people have kind of replayed the most. There were actually the parts when I was kind of doing the actual mod and the soldering and stuff. So there's obviously been a lot of attention from people actually looking to sort of modify their own consoles as well. So, hey, very mixed audience. Went down well with people, gained a load of new subscribers for the channel. That's one thing I haven't talked about with any of these videos, but yeah, the biggest one for new subscribers was the Clint interview, probably unsurprisingly. And yeah, just a really weird video to kind of go viral. But the cool thing about that is that this video is very much on topic for my channel. It's what I do. It's my bread and butter, talking about working with a museum and kind of showing the museum, and also doing the actual work, the actual electronics work on the console. It's what I want my channel to be known for. Unlike the solar videos that I did last year that went absolutely mental and got like 1 million views, and when I say like 1 million, I mean like literally 1 million views. Certainly the first two, the first one got over 800,000 and the second one got over 100,000, and then I think in total it is literally 1 million views. 100,000 views on something that's bang on topic for my channel is absolutely fantastic, and I was really, really pleased with that, despite the fact that people were criticising me for drilling holes in stuff. But hey, you got to take the rough with the smooth, and it's a net gain. So suck it, haters. And yeah, then the last video that I did, which was 2 weeks ago. Wow, feels like much longer ago than that. Another one that's done really well, and I know why, because of the 2600 connection again. And this is the first proper video that I recorded in this studio, and it's my Atari 2600 Plus review. I must say I have made some improvements to my lighting setup and stuff since I recorded this. So like I say, kind of starting again with square one with this space. But yeah, a few influencers, I explain all of this in the video, but a few so-called hashtag influencers had been sent these review units of the 2600 Plus, and they'd done these. I don't want to call anyone else out or kind of criticize anyone or anything like that, but the reviews weren't as kind of in depth as I would have liked in a lot of cases, not in all cases, but in certainly in some cases with some of the more popular ones. And there were a lot of unanswered questions out there about this console. Of course, this is the new remade 2600 Plus. And I thought, I know Atari 2600s. I've got quite a big collection of Atari 2600 stuff and 7800 stuff, more importantly, which of course is the other console that it can emulate. And I thought, well, why not put that knowledge and that collection of stuff to good use and cover all of the aspects of this brand new console that the other people didn't cover? So yeah, that resulted in a 37-minute long video, which is very long for my channel. But again, good retention on that. Lots of people watching the whole thing, which is great. So yeah, popular topic. Lots of good comments and upvotes and good feedback on that. And yeah, good retention, people watching the entire video, even though it's quite long, all helped it out with the YouTube algorithm and obviously showed YouTube that it was a good video. And yeah, they've pushed it and 15,000 views in 2 weeks. And if I could regularly do that on videos on my channel, I would be a very happy boy indeed. That's kind of the level of stuff that I would like to aim for. And yeah, I put a lot of work into this. There's a lot of nice sort of B-roll shots and things, getting the audio and the lighting right. And it's not right. It's it's kind of an ongoing process that I'm going to have to sort of iterate on as I kind of learn to use this space. But really pleased with that. Again, another great video. It's been a good year. It's been a very good year on the main channel. I don't know what the overall sort of number of views and gained subscribers and stuff like that is. I probably should have looked it up before doing a year in review video, but I'll see if I can find those figures and kind of put them down in the comments maybe. I probably won't. I'll forget. But if you see me around, maybe ask me and I'll work it out. But so that's that. And of course, working on another video all about the Lewis Packwood book. But I suppose I should probably spend some time just to finish this off, just very quickly looking at the second channel at Rees Rambles. So let's do that. So onto the second channel, Rees Rambles, which of course is where you're kind of watching this, I guess, if you're not listening to it on one of the Spotify podcast platforms. And I'm not going to go into great detail about every single video individually because the vast majority of them are podcast episodes. They're Rees Rambles episodes. But there's been over 50 videos on the second channel on Rees Rambles, 53 in fact, I just counted. And some interesting stuff. Not all Rees Rambles episodes. I have tried some other things as well, and I guess I'll do a little bit of a roundup of those after that. But let's take a look at the channel page. So I started off at the beginning of this year, and it was a bit of a I don't want to use the phrase New Year's resolution because I don't really do New Year's resolutions, but I do kind of go into the year with kind of specific goals and things in mind, and things I quite like to do. And this was very much it wasn't I want to start a podcast, I want to be a podcaster, but it was kind of as I mentioned earlier in this update. It was a case of me wanting to work on unscripted stuff and just seeing if I could be interesting. And I mean, if you've made it this far, maybe I've been successful. I don't really know. But yeah, I thought I want the ability to do more unscripted stuff. I want to do live streams and I want to do unscripted videos and I want them to be interesting and engaging. And I don't want to be saying every 5 minutes and repeating myself and stumbling over my words. And that's ironic. So I thought, yeah, let's just do some podcast stuff. And initially they didn't have video; they were just audio, literally just audio. Because I don't really watch. There are a lot of podcasts on YouTube that have a video element to them, and I don't really watch any of them. I listen to all of them on a podcasting platform on Spotify, generally when I'm driving. And I was very keen for this to also work well as just a purely audio thing. There are some exceptions. I mean, this episode I have been kind of showing some stuff, but hopefully I've explained enough that it works for the audio listeners as well. But mainly, I want it to be a predominantly audio offering. And so I started this back in, the first one went out on the 27th of February, so it didn't quite start at the beginning of the year. And we're now on episode 45, and I haven't missed a single week. There's been 2 when I've done kind of filler episodes because there's been other stuff going on, and I've kind of pointed people to those instead. And I will talk about those in a minute. But I suppose we should, just before we get onto the rambles, I should talk about this Atari XEGS pickups video. This is a bit of a weird video. So why are some subtitles on? Anyway, I went into the year wanting to do a lot more on the second channel. The podcast was part of that, and then also I wanted to do some kind of lower effort videos like this one. And this one, I'd bought a load of stuff from an eBay seller in America, and there was some bits of Jaguar stuff in there, but it was predominantly Atari XE game system stuff, which is like it's one of my favourite Atari consoles, and didn't really sell at all over here. Someone's going to correct me, but it has its own kind of, even though it runs the Atari 8-bit computer games because it is an Atari 8-bit computer. It has these very distinctive blue game boxes, which are really cool looking, and I wanted to kind of start a little bit of a collection of them. They're quite rare, so I'm never going to pick up the full set, but just kind of some of the more common ones. So I bought a load from an eBay seller in America, and I thought I'll do a quick unscripted video where I just kind of show them off to the camera and all that kind of stuff. And I really enjoyed it. It was a really nice one to put together. And in this video, so the boxes had been in storage for quite a long time. It kind of started to sort of shrink a bit and warp. I think they were actually shrink wrapped when I got them, and it kind of shrunk and kind of bent the boxes out of shape. So I flattened them and I ironed them and recorded all of that process. And the whole point of this was that it was just kind of a very real point of view, kind of, here's what I'm doing. I don't want to say low effort, but yeah, lower effort than my kind of usual main channel stuff. And then the plan was to put them into box protectors, which I'd heard were the same size as the 2600 boxes. But the video culminates in me trying to put them into these box protectors, which I just recorded me putting together. And they don't fit. The boxes are a slightly different size, and I don't think anyone does XEGS box protectors, which was a bit of a disappointing way to end the video. But I really enjoyed this video. I really enjoyed putting it together, and I think I mentioned before about testing things in videos and kind of using them as a test bed for stuff. Is the microphone visible? Was I playing with a different microphone setup here, or was it just on the other side of the desk? I think I may have been playing with an overhead mic here, trying to see if that would. Yeah, you can actually see my my usual Rode NT mic in the background. So I think I was playing with an overhead mic, and the audio didn't come out very good, and that's probably part of the reason why it ended up on the second channel. But it was quite an interesting start to the year for Reese Rambles. And just loads of rambles after that, and they were all audio. Then I was having a conversation with no, that's not quite yet, is it? Let's not quite get onto that. Obviously, Neil RMC did a few live streams this year, and I quite like to put these little 90-second videos together for his live streams. And people find them quite entertaining, and I enjoy the creative challenge. So, kind of sprinkled amongst the rambles are just a few of these little kind of RMC live stream submissions. I tend to do a obviously there's the 90-second long version for the actual live stream, and then I tend to do like a slightly longer edit with the stuff that I had to cut out, and I just put those up on the second channel. 157 views on that one. That first video of the year had like 546, so that's quite good for the second channel. Of course, I did the Tale of Stroudman. That's a great video, taking the mickey out of Neil, which I also did for one of his live streams, and he actually recorded the voiceover for that. That was really cool. I've heard that one of my regular viewers, that actually he has a daughter and who really loves it. She really loves the story and the pictures and stuff. It's all AI generated, and she really loves the story and asks if she can watch it quite regularly. So I think all of the 136 views are probably from her. But that's really sweet, and it was just a fun thing to work on. It's quite what's the word? It's all good spirited, It's not. It's quite a fun little tale. I did enjoy that. One of the highlights of the year for the second channel. And again, more rambles. I used to do really stupid, lazy thumbnails for them. trying to make people laugh. Of course, I talked about Skibidi Toilet. That's a big cultural phenomenon that has been this year that all the kids are watching. I wanted to talk a bit about that, what that was, because I discovered it and was very confused by it and had to get it off my chest. I did a video on N64 emulation on the OG Xbox. That was kind of a spin-off of my OG Xbox and N64 videos, as you can probably tell. And that was just sort of me playing with some emulators and stuff. Again, you'll see that the setup looks very similar to my Rambles, and that was kind of me testing. Oh God, that looks awful. But it was me kind of testing that setup, and it's kind of no coincidence that the Rambles went to video shortly after that. Yeah, and then some more. There was a Ramble there where I talked about the Clint interview and how that came together. Again, another proper video. I played all of Time Extension's best Atari 2600 and 7800 games of all time. That was kind of off the back of the excitement around the 2600 Plus. And again, another test of this setup, me going through and just kind of rambling away live while I played with some stuff. Quite like that. Had some feedback off that. I said a few things about some of the games that weren't true because I was just going off the top of my head, and I've had some corrections in the comments, as always. Obviously, I was away in America. So, yeah, one thing I should talk about is the Morphin Making It. He did a really awesome charity stream around this time while I was actually on holiday in America. And the initial version of the Musée Mécanique video in San Francisco was actually one that I recorded while I was out there, did the voiceover and everything, and actually sent it over so he could show it on that charity live stream, which was really cool. Big success. That event raised loads of money for the charity, which is fantastic. And yeah, the first of my lazy rambles as a result of that, which was a 2-minute long thing when I was in the cupboard in our Airbnb, in the bathroom cupboard, and just basically saying, don't listen to my ramble today, go and watch the charity live stream and donate some money to charity. So there was that. And then obviously there's the one a couple of months later where I talk about, announcing getting my hands on this studio. So that was cool. A big 2-part special where I reviewed all of America, 2 of the worst performing rambles I've ever done, as you might expect. And then, a couple of episodes later, I did an announcement for the book again. I'd already done a video talking about the Curious Video Machines. But what's it called? Curious Video Game Machines. So I just did an update when that went on sale, saying it's now available to buy. Obviously, did the affiliate link thing that I do. The next ramble after that was a very lazy one again. There was another charity live stream that was Rose Tinted Spectrum. I donated a prize to that and was also a guest on that because I wasn't in America for that one. And that was another lazy ramble saying go and watch that. And apart from that, I did towards the end of the year, a couple of weeks ago, in fact 2 weeks ago, I did a bit of a follow-up to my 2600 Plus review video on the main channel. So exactly the same setup. And this was something I wanted to include in that video, but kind of thought that maybe it would kind of detract from the actual review aspect of it. And this is a teardown. So I took the brand new Atari 2600 Plus console apart and took apart the original console and, of course, all the controllers, the original ones and the new remade ones, and just kind of talked a bit about the differences between the two. Oh, one of my lights has just gone off. And so that was kind of another attempt at a proper video on the second channel, and kind of the kind of stuff that I want to do on this channel. Just bear with me a second. I'm going to plug this light in. There we go. I'm back. Right. So yeah, another attempt at a proper video on the second channel, and kind of the start of something that I wanted to start doing, which was very kind of off-the-cuff videos. You'll see I started the year doing this on the second channel, and now I've got the studio. I kind of really wanted to do it properly. And that one went down really well, 1,900 views, which is great. It's really grown the channel. I've had loads of new subscribers off the back of that one. So really worth doing, and probably something I'm going to be doing in future, doing like little kind of companion videos to the main channel videos on this channel. So it's worth subscribing to this channel. And once I reach 1,000 subscribers, I can also get it sort of fully monetized, and then I have control of where the ads appear as well, which is great. I am actually in the partner program now. That's been a very recent development on the second channel. I was eligible to join the YouTube partner program. Apparently, they've changed the requirements since I joined on the main channel. So there's like a 2-step process, and I'm eligible for the first part, but not the second part somehow. Oh, now the other light's gone off. I guess I'll plug that one in. Hang on. Dear, oh dear. Note to self, plug lights in for future rambles. Yes, they're both plugged into the mains now, so we're not going to have that problem again. So there's this 2-step monetization process now, and I don't really understand how it works, but apparently I'm in the partner program, and once I get to 1,000 subscribers, I'll then be eligible to do the second part. And like I say, it's not because I want to fill the videos with ads. If anything, it's because I want to remove all of the ads that YouTube add, to unmonetized channels. So yeah, that's quite cool. And there's also, I wasn't sure whether to talk about this, but I like to be transparent about everything. So I am going to talk about it. And a couple of very recent missteps on the channel. Obviously, you can see what I'm clicking on here, but there are some videos that I've taken down recently. The first one is the Atari 2600 Plus firmware update video, because I made a mistake. Now this wow, that looks terrible. This was me kind of trying to jump on a current trend and kind of put some. I was genuinely trying to be helpful, and as you can see, it's got 7,600 views, and I've taken it down. Basically, I suddenly saw all over Twitter people talking about, oh, there's going to be an Atari 2600 Plus firmware update in time for Christmas. And a couple of those people I thought were quite closely involved with the project. And then I clicked through to Atari Age, and there was loads of information on what was in the update. And I thought, oh, this is great. This is really great news. I want to share this because obviously I've had a couple of videos on the 2600 Plus that have done well, and obviously my audience are very interested in it. So I basically went through and kind of summed up what the forum thread was all about, and just talked about what was coming in the update, what they're working on, and all that kind of stuff. Now, that was fine. This was at the beginning of December, and that was all fine at the time, getting loads of great comments, people saying, oh, it's great. And there's also been videos of people testing this firmware update that have been on Twitter as well. So it's obviously out there and it's done and it's kind of ready to go. So I didn't really think much more of it. And then all of a sudden I start getting a lot of comments along the same line. I know I've talked about negative comments a couple of times in this video, and it's not really a big deal to me. It's something you get used to after a while. But when you get a lot that kind of start to come in around the same time and kind of in the same vein, you kind of have to pay attention because evidently something ain't right. And it was literally, some of the more polite ones were asking me where I got the Christmas part from. Because I say in the video, this update is going to be out before Christmas. And as at the time of recording, it's the 22nd of December, and there's still no sign of it. The less polite ones, I'm sure you can imagine, people calling me a liar and an idiot and saying that I'm just doing it for clicks or clout or views or whatever. There's one or two, but they have a point. So I thought, well, no, I saw this on Twitter. I saw people discussing this and saying that this update is going to be out before Christmas. Genuinely. So I went back to Twitter and I searched for it. Couldn't find any record of it whatsoever. I should have screenshotted it at the time. I should have showed those in the video, but I didn't because it was just kind of a thing that everyone was discussing, and it was kind of like common knowledge in the community at the time that there was going to be this Christmas update. So I didn't really think anything of it. But I don't. So I took it down, and I know a lot of you are going to say that you shouldn't have taken it down. It's just a genuine mistake, and it doesn't really matter when the update's probably going to be first week of January or whatever. Anyway, evidently it's just been delayed for whatever reason, and they're not communicating things as always. And I know that's a reasonable thing to do, but I don't want to be seen. I don't want to be seen to be putting out misinformation and stuff that's kind of correct at the time, or that I believe to be correct at the time of recording. Things can come to light later on, and it turned out that actually I got the wrong end of the stick, and I don't want stuff like that sort of becoming massively successful on the channel and kind of growing the channel, and then people sort of turning around and saying, "Oh, he's grown this channel based on misinformation," and drama and not drama, but you know what I mean. So I thought, I can't be doing with it. I'll take it down. I took down I took down the solar video that had 800,000 views. I can take down a video that's had 7,000 views. It's I just have to kind of maintain the image of the channel and kind of the tone that I want the channel to have, and reputation and all that kind of thing is important. I do like to think that I'm a genuinely nice, normal person, and I've got no sort of skeletons in my closet or anything weird like that. And stuff like this can kind of taint your image a little bit, even if it's just people sort of getting the wrong end of the stick. So I thought, yeah, I'll take that down. And another one very much in that vein, which was also around the same time, was this PCBWay unboxing video. Now, they don't sponsor me. I don't work with them. I've had no working relationship with them. I did this as a filming test. I had my new mic. If you've seen this video, you'll see that I have a little clip-on lapel mic. And you'll also see that there are some top-down shots. Obviously, I mentioned earlier that I was working on kind of an overhead filming setup for the studio. So I recorded this just as a bit of a test. And I wasn't even sure if I was going to put it out there because, like I say, I don't owe them anything. I don't work with them. They don't sponsor my channel. And I was kind of a bit bemused with some of the stuff that was in the box and not all that impressed with it, and kind of thought, well, why are they sending this to me? And yeah. And I had a comment on, I didn't even give it a second thought. And again, I had a comment from one person who said they were very disappointed in me and that they didn't like the dismissive tone of the video, and that, PCBWay had done a lot to support smaller creators and all of that. And they're right. They're absolutely right. I read that comment and I went back and I watched it again with that in mind. And I thought, you know what, that's the way this video comes across. I feel like I'm just being an absolute dick for no reason. And that's not my thing. In my head, it was like an Ashens, Ashens with his kind of very dry humour, and when he's unboxing sort of tat on his sofa, and it's all sort of quite light-hearted and quite funny, but also quite kind of dry. And I just didn't hit that tone that I wanted, and it came across as very dismissive and very, and yeah, ultimately, I don't work with them. I'm not sponsored by them. I don't owe them anything. But at the same time, it was like, yeah, they've supported a lot of my friends, very small YouTubers, and, they've given them free stuff. And ultimately, yes, it's a marketing exercise. The reason they do this and the reason they sent these boxes out is because they want people to talk about them and spread the good word of PCBWay and promote them. But ultimately, it's like, yeah, you have to be careful with the tone of these things. And it's like, I know there's YouTubers who've been in trouble in the past for being very dismissive of very kind donations that people have sent into them. And also there's the whole, kid opening their presents on Christmas Day and going, oh, what's this? I didn't ask for this. What is this rubbish kind of thing? And yeah, there was the potential for it to be perceived that way. And it only had 178 views before I took it down. It was literally up for like 2 hours. And I thought, well, for someone to come in that quickly with that opinion, and for me to then watch it and think, well, actually, yeah, I agree with you. The tone of this isn't right. It's not what I wanted. I thought, yeah, I'll take it down. So again, it was a bit of an experiment, just filming stuff. As you can see, the lighting's quite a bit better if you're watching this on YouTube. The lighting's quite nice. The audio was quite nice from the lavalier mic, and I had the top-down shots in there, first video where I've done that. So it was just a test. That's why it was recorded, and I just thought I'd put it out there and changed my mind and thought, no, actually, this isn't what I want on the channel. So took it down. So there you go. And finally, I suppose the last thing that I need to talk about is the supporter videos that I've done on the second channel. And I'll just very sort of quickly look at these just to show people what's kind of available on there if they're not supporters. This isn't me trying to persuade people to sign up or anything like that. And I haven't done any for a couple of months because I've been busy with the studio and stuff. But yeah, back in May, I did a Patreon update, which was just like a general kind of channel update. And that's what kind of led to the one that I did on the main channel as well. This, I was testing some stuff to sell on eBay, so I did a video where I played with a power glove, the famous Nintendo peripheral, the power glove. So I put a quick video together, 15 minutes of just me messing around with that, trying to get it working. Spoiler alert, it didn't work. I sold it on eBay as not working. Yeah, and then I looked at an unreleased Atari VCS prototype called Snark from 1978. Discovered that, wanted to have a play with it, thought I'll hit record and give people my impressions on it. Then another update in June, 1st of June, I talked about some magazine articles. I was featured in Retro Gamer. I was in their Collector's Corner, so I just wanted to talk about that. Atari 1040 STF, that was kind of a donation to the channel, and I just kind of wanted to take it apart and see if it was working, and that was half an hour, so that was kind of quite a sort of real-time live commentary style video. The one I mentioned earlier about the Lego Atari 2600 went out in July. Supporter thanks video. Can't remember exactly what I was thanking. Yes, I do. I did the channel update video, and I had quite a few new supporters sign up off the back of that. So I just wanted to put something out there, just thanking people for signing up. So that's all that is, just a couple of minutes. And like I say, then there were the 4 Office Studio build videos that were just me kind of talking about stuff that I was working on a day-to-day basis as I was working on this place, and they actually went down really well with my supporters. And the last supporter exclusive video was the 20th of November, so apologies for not providing good value for money in December, but I've had a lot of stuff going on, as you've probably seen. So I suppose we should wrap all of this up by talking a bit about next year, about 2024. So let's do it. So if you've stuck with me this long, thank you ever so much. Your support is very much appreciated. It's people like you, the reason why I keep doing this, as soppy as that sounds. And I don't think I thank my viewers enough and my supporters enough. If it wasn't for them, I wouldn't be doing this. I don't do it just for the views. I do it because I enjoy doing it. But ultimately, if people didn't watch it and enjoy it, I think I would have given up a long time ago. So that's that. But yeah, as for 2024, again, small incremental improvements. I don't want to do anything big, make any big changes to the format of the channel, anything like that. I do want to do some more live streaming. I'm not sure if I'll experiment with that over Christmas, whether I'll get time to do that. Obviously, I've got a really good internet connection here, and I've got lots of cool stuff that I can play with and stream. So that might be quite fun to do. But yeah, just using the studio. I want to do some more of those kind of, maybe not completely mess it up like I did with the 2600 plus firmware, Christmas firmware debacle. But I do want to do some more kind of off-the-cuff stuff while I'm here. Just if there's something in the news that takes my interest, maybe just put out a quick video about that and just tell people about it. I don't want to become a reaction channel or a drama YouTuber or a commentary YouTuber or anything like that. But I'm interested in this stuff, and I know about it, and I have opinions on it. So hey, why not? Why not? But anyway, yeah, so 2024, more of the same, more of this studio. I also kind of want to get back and do some more filming at home as well. I want to finish that NEC video. But for now, I want to just go and get this book video finished off and get that one out before the end of the year. So yeah, I think this is the opportunity to thank everyone. Thank you ever so much for all of your support and your viewership, both for the ctrl-alt-rees channel and also for the Rambles over the course of this year. It's been a really, really good year for the channel. I've had some videos that have been really successful, some real milestones, obviously talking to Clint and, all of that kind of stuff. I've been involved with a couple of charity live streams, which are obviously really kind of fulfilling and really, I'll always give my time and money and support for that kind of stuff because it's always good to give back. But thanks for giving me, an absolutely fantastic 2023. On ctrl-alt-rees and on Rees Rambles, and long may it continue. So as always, the tradition with Rees Rambles is for me to run out of stuff to say and start talking rubbish, and we're at that point in the ramble. So this is the point where I sign off and say goodbye. I hope you're having a fantastic Christmas and have a wonderful New Year. And I'll probably do a Christmas New Year ramble next week. Or I might have a week off. I haven't had a single week off since I started. Or do I want to do a whole year streak unbroken? We'll see.